The Gmail pack for Coda is amazing, but it's got one fatal flaw. You cannot send files or attachments with your emails. I'm going to show you how to fix that today for free. Let's go. All right, because the Gmail pack doesn't allow us to send files or attachments, we're going to use something outside of the Gmail pack, and we're going to write something called a script. Now, this is some technical JavaScript coding that we're going to get into, but trust me, follow along and you can do this, even if you're not a coder. So let's start looking here at our screen, and what we're going to do is on a browser, you are going to open up a Google script. This is free, so you never need to pay for this as long as you have a Google account. So you should be signed in with your Gmail or your Google account. Once in your browser, you can actually access this by going script.google.com. That's one way to get it. A faster way to get there even is just to type in script.new, and that will start a new script for you. Once you're in here, if you haven't seen it before, it's similar. It looks like Google tools that you're probably normally used to, right? You've got your Google colors and other pieces like that. But we're going to write 3 simple functions. So follow along with me. If you want to kind of skip this and you just want to grab all this code, there's a link to grab this code yourself in the comments below. But I'm going to walk you through what we're doing and why, and hopefully you'll learn how to do this on your own. So first, what we're going to do is let's just give this a title, and let's call it Gmail Attachments. All right, let's rename that there. What we're going to do now is we're going to write a function. Function is very similar to a Coda formula, right? It's something that does something. You give it some inputs, you give it some arguments, some information, and it always outputs the same information. So we're going to title this, send a PDF email. We'll do these 2 squigglies and these 2 and that. If you don't know JavaScript, this is just something technically that you need for JavaScript. You're not going to have to worry about it too much as long as you just follow along with us. We're going to call these squiggly braces and these not squiggly braces, because why not? So first, what we're going to do is we are going to write out let response equal to URL fetch app. Notice that we have this kind of autocomplete. It's going to get there for you. You can just kind of click on things or press tab to complete it. And then we are going to fetch something called a URL. So URL, what we're going to do is we're going to give this parameters. We're going to say URL. Okay. So let's go here now and start our Coda doc. I think this will start making more sense once we look at it from Coda first. So let's go send email from a document. Okay. And let's get a table in. So functions are very similar, right? So let's say we go to the function sum. If we take the function sum, notice that it's taking arguments and you're saying, hey, do something with the information that I give you, right? So sum, what do we want to put into sum? We want to put in name and 1, right? And so if name and 1 is 2 and 1, it's going to output 3. So with these parameters here that we're putting in here, we're doing the same thing inside of our app script. We're saying, hey, send PDF, and we're defining what this does. It's going to take a couple different parameters. So the first one is a URL. What this URL is the Coda hosted URL of your PDF file. So every time you have a PDF file inside of Coda, it actually has something called a hosted URL. So let's go here and column type, make this a file. All right, first I'm gonna just export this to get a export to PDF. What we're gonna do though is we're gonna grab the hosted file of this PDF. Okay, so the moment that I add a file to a Coda document, notice that it kind of scans for a minute and then it uploads. Okay, this has a hosted URL to it, and there's a couple ways we can find this. One is a hidden formula. We're going to say file dot first. The reason I'm doing dot first is this little icon right here is actually, it's showing it's a list of items. You can tell that little shadow right there. So I don't want a list of PDFs. I just want the first one or just a single one. I'm going to use a hidden formula called merge. We're going to use our normal parentheses, and then we're going to say dot parse JSON for public URL. Okay. So when I do that, notice that that is pulling out a codahosted.io. That looks like a normal familiar URL. That is the URL that we're actually going to pass to the app script. Instead of passing this file, we're saying, hey, there's a file at this URL. App script, can you go ahead and go grab it? A much easier way to actually do this is via a packs, and type in image. I like this one right here by myself. This one was by me and another. This one has one other function to it that's really helpful. I'm going to add to doc for free. Something that you can do instead is you could actually just say file.first.getImageURL. That's with the pack that we just got. That's going to run and grab that for you. All right, so that's going to be the very first piece that we're doing. That response equal URL fetch app dot fetch URL, Coda hosted file of your PDF file. All right, so what we're going to do next is get our other arguments in. The other thing that we're going to need is the different pieces that an email normally needs. I'm going to call it to. To is going to be the person you're sending the email to. We're going to do a subject because you will want an email subject in there. You're going to want the body. That's going to be the email body, the actual message of the email itself. And the last thing that we're going to want to insert into this function is going to be the PDF name. Without doing the PDF name, Google will name it itself, and it's just going to be a random string of characters. It doesn't look professional, so we're going to pass from Coda a custom name for it. So what we're going to do now, so what this does is it, again, I told you, it takes the URL you're passing from Coda of your file, and it grabs it. It grabs the actual PDF itself. What we need to do next is turn that into something called a blob. I love that it's called a blob. I don't know why, I just think it's awesome. So we're going to say, let PDF blob equal to response.getBlob. Oops, response.getBlob with some parentheses. So that's going to take our response.getBlob and saying, hey, go grab the PDF that we just got. And instead of just having a PDF, give me the blob of it. Next, we're going to set its name. No, we'll do that in a little bit. Next, we are actually going to start sending this. So Google Apps Script is great because it has these inbuilt functions, and one of them is called the Mail app. You'll see that Mail app has an ability to send an email. So now we're going to send an email, and what we're going to do is we are going to send it to we're going to send it to, here's the subject. We're going to input the subject. We're going to input the body. And then lastly, we're going to input an object. That's what those squiggly braces are. It means an object. And inside that object, we're going to put some attachments, which is going to be an array. An array is these square brackets. And what that's going to do is, it's like a list. It's just a list of attachments. We are only doing one attachment. And instead of putting the URL, right, we're going to put the actual PDF blob itself in there. So PDF blob. So that is essentially our function. What we want to do though now, I want to look at the name. The name is a little interesting because we want to be able to set the name. If you set a name such as custom name, there's a weird bug with AppScript where it's not going to accept that because of the space. So we're going to write another quick function to protect against that so that if your users from a Coda doc send a PDF with a space in it, we're going to be fine with that. So we're going to actually up here write another function, and we're going to call it replace space. And it's just going to take a name. And what we're going to do is we are going to return name dot replace. This is what replace is doing. Is replace is very similar to regex in Coda. So if you know the regex formula, it's very similar to that. But what we're going to do is we are going to get this little string in here, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm actually going to copy paste it from another place. It's very specific. But what it's going to do is replace that with an underscore. So we're going to take the name that it sends us, and we're just going to replace it with an underscore instead. So we're going to now say let the new PDF name equal to replace the space of the PDF name. So that is replacing the space in the Coda provided name. Okay. All right, so now we have a new name, and what we're going to do is one more thing here. We're going to set the name of the blob. So the name of the blob becomes the name of the PDF itself. And so we are going to say PDF blob dot set this argument called set name to new PDF name. Great. So that is actually our entire function. But now, how do we make this go to Coda? So we're so close to making this happen, but now we have to essentially allow this to connect to Coda. What we're going to do is deploy this script as a web app. Really fun. So there's a special function inside Google Apps Script called do post. So we're going to write one more function, and it's going to be called do post. It should be exactly like that with a capital P. If you don't have that, it's going to break. And inside of two normal parentheses, we'll put the letter E, squiggly braces, and open. Now we have a function called do post, squiggly bracelet E, and inside of it, this is what actually is going to be catching the information from Coda. So Coda via a button, right? So we can actually go ahead and erase this, delete, is going to send information to script, okay? And this is going to be a button. So this button will send information to that script. How is it going to catch it specifically? Via this do post. So let's look at this now. What we're going to do is you're going to say let JSON. JSON is a way of storing information. So we could actually even just call this, to be more clear, if you don't know coding, let's just call this info from Coda, right? We can call it whatever we want. But we are going to say is equal to JSON.parse e.post post data.contents. Okay, so now we got let info equal JSON.parse e, that's taking this e, and now it's saying, hey, go take whatever information was sent from Coda, go get the actual data itself, and then get the content itself from the data. This JSON.parse is turning it into a better data format that your script will be able to read. So now that we have that, we're going to define our variables, and we're going to say let to equals info.to. We're going to say let subject equal info.subject. So what am I doing with this dot? That's pretty easy if you're used to Coda. It's very similar to this. So let's make another table here. All we're saying is there's a table of people, and this is their name, and this is their age, right? So this is Scott. If I go here and I'm 42, and then I have another, what it's going to be is a relation column. So I'm going to go to relation, and I'm going to say people, right? And I go to people, and I go to people, and I select Scott. The moment that I select Scott, what you're going to see is I can dot into that, right? Equal people dot age, right? It's taking information out of that chunk. So we're doing the same thing in our app script. So let's go here and let's delete these columns. Delete. Great. All right, so what we're going to do next actually is we're going to keep dotting out this information. So hopefully that helps you understand what we're doing and why. We're going to say let URL is equal to info dot URL, and then we're going to say let body is equal to info dot body, and we need all, so what I'm doing here is getting all the things that were in here. So the last thing we need is a PDF name. Yep. Let PDF name equal to info dot PDF name. Okay. Now we've defined our information. We're saying, hey, this is coming from Coda. Now we have to do one more thing, and it's simply send that email. So I'm going to use my function that I've already created up here, and I'm going to pass it this info specifically. So that's going to be to subject URL. No, these are in order, so I actually have to make sure that I'm doing them in order. So the URL comes first, and then the to, and then the subject, and then the body, and then the PDF name. And that's it. Our script is written. Your entire script is written. Again, if you don't want to write this yourself, if you just want to grab it in the comments below, you can do that, along with a lot of other resources. If you grab those, the script below, you'll find a ton of other resources with it. But let's go now and show you the kind of final pieces of how we connect this to Coda. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually deploy this. So you're going to go here. Make sure you save it first, please. That's going to be really important. After you do that, you're going to go to deploy, and you're going to say new deployment. You are going to say web app. So you want a web app deployment. I'm clicking on this little thing. You don't have to give a description. Doesn't matter. You want who has access to be anyone. That will not give anyone access to your app. It's just going to ensure that a button from Coda can press it. You are going to press deploy. Once you press deploy, it'll give you this little squiggly squoop. Load in data. This may take a few moments. That's really fun. Let's start setting it up in our Coda document. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set our Coda document up and ready to do this. You're going to insert a pack. So I'm going to go to insert in packs. I'm not going to insert, that was not packs, the Gmail pack, but instead I'm going to insert the app script pack right here. Notice that has the same logo as we had before. You're going to add it for free. If you don't already have an account, you'll just go through the normal Gmail or adding accounts that you do here. I can actually do that real fast. You'll add an account, choose your own account. Once you do that, press continue, let it access it, set your permissions, and you're good to go. Now there's a couple different pieces of information on here. Really what we want is trigger web app. You noticed in the last piece, we just deployed a web app. Ooh, I've got to authorize access. But nonetheless, trigger web app, we deployed a web app. That's what we're triggering. We'll put that button here, and we need a URL. The URL is really important. Let's go back and get that. So first we need to authorize access. So I'm going to authorize this as me. We're going to press allow, updating deployment. And then what you're going to get is this web app URL. It's a really long URL. That's what you want. Copy, done. All right, now that I've got it, I'm going to put it into here. Okay. Next, what you're going to do is you are going to add more. There's two that we want here. We want method and body. So for methods, you're going to put post, all caps, 4 characters. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Body. For body, we're going to do something a little fun. So what we're going to do is you're going to press the equal button to pop up with a formula, and then you're going to use a special formula from the app script called JSON body, right? Once we do this, we need to construct the information itself that we're passing. This is like bundling all of our information from the row and giving it to the app script itself. So we need to define keys and values, right? So we're saying, hey, let's do the 2 as the person we are, and then we need to define these actually here, right? So let's say this is 2. So this will be the email that we're sending it to. So scott@codaschool.io, right? So we're going to define these in our table. We're then going to do the subject, and we're then going to do the body. And what else should we do? The subject, the body, the PDF name, and that it? I think that's it. No, the URL. No, we'll do the URL in here. We won't have to worry about that right now. So that's all we need. So now let's configure our button to send those pieces. So 2 is going to be 2. And URL is actually going to be file.first.getImageURL. So just write it right there in your formula. It'll grab it and send it over. Next up, you're going to want subject, and that's going to be subject. You're going to want body, and that's going to be body. And then you're going to want PDF name, and that's going to be PDF name. Notice here something important, that these are case sensitive and they matter. This has to exactly match what you put in your script over here specifically. Okay, these, those 5 have to match exactly what you're putting in here. This, just make sure you're referencing the right column. Name the columns whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Just make sure these pieces are perfect. So there we go. We got the JSON body we're sending over. We've got the post, and we've got the URL. And then lastly, we can set a results column if we want. We don't need to though. So let's go ahead and set this to an email type. Type people, where's the people type? People email. Okay. So we got that. Let's put a subject on it. Testing my attachment sender. Let's give it a body. It's best if you put body as a column type canvas, right? Because then you can go in and you can just really write out your entire email. Hey there, I'm sending you an email with a file attached. All right, we're good. And now that we've done that, we are going to give the PDF a really awesome name. And with that, we'll press that button, watch it spin a little bit, and you'll see one external action performed. And here's our email. All right, and that is how you send emails from Gmail with attachments. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you just want to grab that script and some other resources, you can do that in the description below. If you got any other questions, send them my way in the comments or let me know what you want to see next. Adios.